As you may know, United's existing bylaws were adopted in 1994. The California laws governing our community have experienced so much change within the past few years alone, it makes our current bylaws unreliable. As our community has continued to develop, our needs have changed. The updated bylaws will help us address our changing needs. Moreover, it only makes sense to have governing documents that are updated and reflect modern law. The board has worked closely with United's attorneys in drafting the proposed amendment and restated bylaws to ensure that your interests are protected and the community is properly managed. The proposed bylaws clearly and effectively set forth policies and procedures for the governing of the community. Most importantly, the proposed bylaws have been updated to reflect current law and important provisions have been clarified. The board's goal through this important process has been to assure that United's and, significantly, your interests are represented and adequately addressed. We encourage you to vote in favor of the proposed amendment and restated bylaws.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the United Mutual Board of Directors, California Nonprofit Mutual Benefit Corporation. Today is Tuesday, July 11th, and it is 9:30. We are in the boardroom of the Community Center. I call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum, although we have one director absent today. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pat, would you please lead us?
Yes, would you please all stand up? Will you please all stand up for Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, acknowledge media. I don't see the globe here yet, but we certainly have our wonderful people upstairs that are recording this. And approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Maggie?
I have a correction.
Some changes,
for the agenda.
okay.
On 12B, unfinished business, Mr. Rader is R-A-D-E-R.
Okay.
Thank you.
A-D-E-R.
A-D-E-E-R, radar, not radar.
Yeah, thank you.
He's definitely our radar. All right, are there any other corrections or changes to the minutes? Okay, so did you move their acceptance?
I so move.
I second.
Okay,
Oh, we do have to do that.
I have the motion already.
Okay. I'll say.
okay.
I can't receive.
We're still learning, folks.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
now you're able to vote?
Okay.
I can't change. Oh, here we go.
Get it done?
All right. It was moved by Andre Trong and seconded by Maggie Blackwell. We will go to voting. If you would vote yes, no, or abstain, please.
Just tap it, so the little circle shows. Did you get the little circle?
Yeah.
Director Leonard?
Getting there.
My vote would be yes.
All right, let's commence voting. Now we cease voting. There we go. The motion passes 9-0. All right, we have our minutes of our last June 13th, 2017 meeting. I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes. And a second?
I second.
Okay. Looks like both went off, so I seem to be fine.
It didn't register. Can you do it again?
Neither one?
Okay. The motion, my light went off, but it didn't.
I poked.
Okay.
There it is.
And Maxine is seconding it. You want to poke the second
I did it
again?
verbally, he's working on mine.
I have Director Blackwell moved and Director Torn seconded.
Okay. We can do that. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? Okay, I will ask you to commence voting. And cease voting.
I don't have a vote from Director Blackwell, Director McIntosh, or Director Morrison.
McIntosh votes yes.
Morrison, yes.
Blackwell, yes, 6 times.
You don't get.
We're in the learning curve with our.
Yeah, these touch screens are a little
A little
different.
touchy.
Yeah,
There you go. The
I
motion
like
passed.
it. Touchy touch screens. All right, we've ceased voting. Has everybody voted?
The motion passed.
Okay.
You
thank
missed it. It did pop up.
It didn't light up.
No, it did. You were looking down.
I can't do both. All right. Report of the chair. I have a couple of things this morning. I'd like to start off with calling Officer Tom Saviglia up to the lectern, and he has a presentation to make.
Thank you, President Skillman. I'm here to, I have a accommodation for a couple of residents that live in the United Laguna Woods Mutual area, and I wanted to address that. Is this?
It's on.
It is on, okay. One of the residents was unable to be here, Leslie Sherman, and she did take part of this. She noticed that her carport storage area was, the door was open, and it was in her patio area. She noticed that somebody did rummage through this and then contacted security, which kind of started the wheels turning. Then, on Sunday, the 9th, at approximately 9:45 a.m., we had Miss Elliott here, who noticed that her utility wagon was missing from her area. Just minutes later, after Miss Elliott noticed this was missing, she noticed a male subject that was unknown to the area that was in possession of this wagon, which had several other property inside the wagon. Miss Elliott confronted the subject and told her, I want my wagon back. He did give the wagon back to her, removed the property. Miss Elliott, instead of just leaving it like that, she then immediately went inside her house and she contacted security, which is something we would expect our residents to do. And not only did she contact security and describe the incident of what occurred, she provided detailed description of the subject, and which was really nice to receive, which we normally don't receive, is actually where the subject was en route to, what direction he went to. And that information was dispatched to our officers out in the field. Our officers then subsequently did locate the subject. He was detained. Orange County Sheriff's Department did respond, and it was determined that he was trespassing and possession of stolen property. He was arrested for this and subsequently transported to Orange County Jail for processing. On behalf of the security division, or the security chief, Tim Moy, which was unable to be here, the United Mutual board here, the security division, and myself, we want to thank you for what you did. We commend you on your willingness to do your part in keeping the community safe, and also keeping the concept of what we say, if you see something, say something. And if it wasn't for your actions, this subject would have never been located, arrested, And we got to get a bad person out of this community, and we appreciate you doing the efforts that you did. Okay? Here's the accommodation for Good Samaritan from the board, and I also have some tickets to the Performing Arts Center for you for your efforts. Thank you very much. Okay? Thank you. Sure.
Please hold it up. Thank you. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We certainly all appreciate those efforts, and I hope that other residents, if they see something that is not right, will contact security, get any information that they can, like descriptions or license plates or whatever, because we all work together to keep our community safe.
Here, here.
The other presentation that I have this morning, and I don't think I see Joe. Joe, are you here? Sometimes he sits in the back. All right, he's not there, so I'd like to read the recognition that we have. Whereas Mr. Joe Rainey has dutifully served as a director on the Village Management Services Board of Directors representing United Woods Mutual since 2015, and whereas Mr. Rainey has served as a member of the Select Audit Task Force on behalf of United, and whereas VMS and United have benefited greatly from Mr. Rainey's leadership, service, and contributions to the village, and whereas Mr. Rainey has repeatedly worked with staff to make sure veterans' needs are addressed and that these very important individuals receive due respect at community events. And whereas Mr. Rainey has dedicated his time and energy to the VMS and the employees it represents, now therefore, on this day, July 11th, 2017, the United Board of Directors formally recognizes, commends, and thanks Mr. Rainey for his service on the Board of Directors. As many of you know, Joe Rainey was just recently elected to be one of our city councilmen persons at the city of Laguna Woods. So our loss is their gain, and we'll make sure that he gets the All right, last but not least, everybody in United got one of these in the last week. And in it were our amended, updated bylaws. This has not been done for 25 years. They are tremendously out of date. There was a lot of things that needed to be changed. For one thing, we simplified it. We went from 40-some pages down to 20. And hopefully they are more readable. There's still legalese in there because this is a legal document, but for the most part, we tried to simplify it. And if you will read the cover letter, you will see what the main changes were, what we did, and we ask that everybody vote. Yes or no, we prefer yes. Please at least get your ballot in because we need to have a certain number of ballots in for this election to be valid. So please vote. Very disturbed when I talk to people and they say, oh, I don't do that, I threw it away. Please, don't throw it away. Vote one way or the other, but get that ballot in. Okay, that's the end of my chair remarks. So I would like to go to the update from VMS, and we have our United Director on VMS, Anthony Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning. And good morning to United Directors. It's my pleasure to bring the United Board up to date on the works of the VMS Board. United appointee, as just announced, Joe Rainey, we're losing him. And just like to let the board know here that he has been a great guy. He's a good listener, and he was a really positive force on the Board of Directors, and we wish him well. I'm sure I can speak for all the directors when doing this, and he's, his contribution is great, and our board, I think, is great because of the type of people that you have appointed to the board. So we appreciate that. Your VMS board has been busy this past quarter updating the strategic plan. As one of your appointees to the board, I would like to compliment you as board for attending our meetings. When reporting to you, I prefer to use the strategic plan as a bellwether. It's something we can all refer to. And in setting objectives for the VMS goal, staff produced 90 tasks. In our most recent meeting, and again, my compliments to the United board members who attended our working sessions, our department heads presented the board with focused recommendations that resulted in just over 60 tasks that are outstanding. At the very core of our business meetings, department heads brief and update us on the implementation and the status of those objectives or goals. Of course, these updates include details on service and personnel. Last week, Chief Tim Moy gave us an in-depth report covering stats, calls for service, staff hiring, emergency operations plan implementation. I didn't have any booze, I had coffee though. Let me assure you that as a retired FSO that I am, we are in good hands with the chief. He has got a lot on his plate, but I admire his progress and the way he's doing it. It's worth us looking at some telling stats that our chief shared with us at our last meeting, and we, the VMS board, were pleased that many of the board here were there to support us and the chief. So, real good. Just an overlook here from 2014. Security Division calls for service in 2014 were 36,472. 2015, service calls were 36,492. In 2016, they were 37,357. And to date, 2017, 17,478. And to give you some sense of the workload in dealing with our situation here, here are some numbers listed as quarterly resident service overview. Calls to resident services in this quarter, April, 6,881. In May, 7,223. In June, 7,510. Calls to gate clearance for April, 8,680. May, 7,374. June, 6,392. And calls to broadband for services in April, 1,210. May, 1,624. June, 1,838. For a total of 48,740 calls. So staff is keeping busy. At the VMS board's next meeting, Mr. Ernesto Munoz, the head of maintenance and construction, will meet and share the details of what he's doing and what his department and his department heads are doing. It is so important for us to share some of the compliments from residents at the same time give kudos to the VMS employees who generate these compliments. Staff received an awesome letter from Mr. and Mrs. Allen and Lynn Dickman at 695C. They are new homeowners. Employees have, and here's what they said, that since they are the new homeowners, employees have provided us with just exceptional service. They have assisted us with numerous requests with very fast and efficient and as well as competent service. They are all very friendly and courteous. And we thank them for letting us know how our BMS staff is performing. Also, several improvements deserve major kudos. Dwelling Live system works perfectly on my Mac and my phone. And my grandkids were very impressed with how savvy I am with this new stuff, you know. The website improves and improves. I just discovered the sitemap at the bottom of the homepage. It was there, maybe it was there before, I didn't see it. Now I can go there and find everything I'm looking for simply by scanning, rather than playing 20 questions with the drop-down drill menus there. The new board chambers here are really fantastic, and I don't miss seeing the old coffee pots in the background or the broken blinds that were over here. So the BMS board compliments the United board for their ongoing interest in our work, and that, Madam President, concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Good.
And I would like to commend all of our VMS directors, and we're very proud of those that serve for United. For our residents out there who may not know, the VMS board is made up of 9 members, 3 from GRF, 3 from Third, and 3 from United. And they are just exceptional in what they do. Andre, you had a question or comment?
Yes, Mr. Liberator, it's a great achievement that you've in your statement. Is that a statement published anywhere so we can share with our residents about the accomplishment we made during the past month? And
Director Torn, as far as I know, we built this up, the staff and myself, this report, but I'd be glad to get with staff and make it available to the directors if that's what the board would like. No problem.
that would be fantastic. Also, the strategic plan that I requested during the past presentations, I still haven't got it. Is it possible that you share a copy of the strategic plan and progress with us?
Yes, I apologize for you not getting that. I thought it was understood that the board at least would be updated on the strategic plan. I will address that with staff.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I might point out that only board members our directors are members in VMS. Residents are not. So any questions, thoughts, whatever you have for them should go through us. All right, next we come
Point
to,
of information.
yes.
I tapped it, but I guess it didn't come up. I wanted to say, in addition to what Mr. Liberatore shared, that I've had, really, I'm surprised, a large number of people, several were strangers out in front of our building who recognize that I serve on the board.
Your mic's not on.
Oh. So sorry. A number of people who recognize me as someone who served on the board stop me and say, you know, every time I go in the community center, all the staff smile, they all say hello, they're extra friendly, they make you feel so good that you're there. And I thought, yes, you know, we need to share this. So I'm so glad Mr. Liberatore shared that wonderful letter so that we're reminded that there's a lot of good things happening and going on, but not everybody lets us know.
Thank you. All right, we'll go on to item 8 on our agenda, which is our CEO report.
Well,
Mr.
thank you
Hudson.
very much, Madam President, members of the board, United Community. It's always a pleasure to share what we're doing with you. I did want to take this opportunity as well to congratulate the resident and security officers who made the apprehension, I guess, and arrest and ultimate incarceration of what was a child of a resident. And we find this quite frequently, that the folks who are committing acts of crime within the community are actually related to a member. And so just because you've seen someone here before doesn't necessarily mean that they're here at this time with good intent. And so please, if anything that looks suspicious, even as somebody you've seen around for a while, give us a call, and we'll clarify it and let you know. But we really do appreciate the eyes and ears of our residents, not just on security matters, but on all matters, compliance matters, maintenance matters, landscaping. We're not in every cul-de-sac and next to every manor, but you are. And so whatever you see out there that needs our attention, please give us a call, and I commit to you that we'll do our best to address it. I did also want to congratulate the Governing Docs Committee. You guys have worked so hard for so long, and we finally have a really nice set of bylaws that our residents can probably understand and finish before they become exhausted. And we hope that they'll vote yes on that and support your fine work, and I certainly congratulate you in that effort. I did also want to, and this has been talked about before, but talk about the 4th of July event and how nice it was. And we're recapping that internally, and certainly would welcome any community or board input on how to make that better for next year. It was very well received. We've gotten probably 50 emails from residents, and I don't think there was a negative one in the bunch. And so we're very happy with the response we've got from residents, but want to do better in the future. So if you can think of things we need to do, or things we should stop doing, or other ways to make the event better, we'd be pleased to hear from you. Obviously, we're in the throes of budget, and we had a pretty good get-together yesterday and a lot of input. I think for the residents of United, they could be pretty pleased that there was really universal support for gate improvements at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I think that's will be a huge benefit to the community, not only in terms of ease of access, but also securing the community from those who really have no business being here, or those who have been excluded from the community intentionally. Right now, without the gate arms and that security, even though somebody may have been excluded, it's pretty hard to keep them out without the arms. So we're very pleased to bring that to you, and I think that while there'll be some disruption during construction, that it'll be really, really good for United. Also, as part of the budget, and there were a number of improvements within the United area, but the Fitness Center 1 is scheduled for a major upgrade as well. For any of you that are on the CAC, you probably saw the activities usage matrix we provided at the last CAC meeting. And it showed that fitness centers are the #1 amenity in the village. More than golf, more than tennis, more than golf and tennis combined. It is the #1 activity, and so investments in that area certainly make a lot of sense. We're also going to be talking about, and we've got a real sort of communication effort that's getting ready to be launched. I'm going to give you a preview on it. This is on the recycled water project inside Gate 5 and 6, and it's been on the books for a long time. It's been talked about. Many of you were probably here when they did the last set of projects through El Toro Water District, but we've got another big project coming within the Gate 5-6 area of United. And so look forward to getting information on construction activities, any sort of road or other impacts that may disrupt your daily routine. These folks are pretty good at this. The last big project, I'm told, was not very disruptive at all for the amount of work that was conducted. So we anticipate that construction starting probably late fall in 3rd, and then a little later in the year in United. There's another big piece within Gate 9. So you've got a Gate 9 piece and really a Gate 5 piece that will add reclaimed water, which is somewhat cheaper than domestic potable water, and so the residents will benefit from that as well with respect to their landscaping. I did want to, and I know a lot of United residents have been concerned about the damage to the bridge down at the creek area, and because of federal and state regulations, we've been prohibited from making that repair. As well, you've probably noticed that right next to the bridge, we keep planting stuff, and every time it rains, the stuff goes down the creek. And so we've asked for a different program, which is really final now, and GRF approved it last week, where we just paid into a mitigation bank, and now we don't have to replant that stuff every time it rains, and we can fix the bridge when it needs to be fixed. So that is concluded and is a much better arrangement than what we had previously. So I look forward to fixing the bridge for those residents there who've probably gotten quite irritated of seeing it in the state that it's in. That shouldn't happen again. You probably will notice some work around the Clubhouse 1 patio, those planters back there which are falling down. We're going to start replacing those. And so you should notice that, and some of that will be disruptive to activities that typically happen out there, but I'm anticipating it will not take too long to complete that. And then we're making a big push to enlighten residents about Team Up and what a great tool it is to view board agendas and calendars and backup materials. And so you'll be seeing emails, and we got a little TV6 thing we're going to, TV6, Village Television thing we're going to do. God, when will it end? That we're going to do to share with residents how they can access that information either from, it really works great from a smartphone, but it works pretty good from a desktop too, and you can access it right through our website, though on the current website, it's a tad convoluted to get to it. But anyway, wonderful tool to monitor the governance goings and meetings in the village, and we just want to make it real easy and transparent for all residents to know what the heck we're up to and how they can participate. So I'm excited about that. And then Lori says, I have to tell you about these events at the Performing Arts Center, which are, we've got a Everly Brothers tribute on 7/22, and then we have a Creedence Clearwater Revival and Doobie Brothers, kind of a joint tribute on 8/20. So, and there's probably other things coming up too. We're very excited to provide entertainment to you, and it's been very, very well received. I know we have exit cards there at the Performing Arts Center, and we usually get 20 or 30 of them filled out after every show, and Lori reviews those, and they're about 99% positive. There'll be the occasional, I hate dogs, why did you book the Olati dogs sort of thing, but okay, I can't help that. We don't have any cat shows planned, I just want to make that clear. They're hard to get to jump through anything, as you're well aware. Anyway, that concludes my report. A lot of good things going on. The days over the next 3 weeks or so will be filled with budget stuff, trying to restrain assessment levels and keep the community affordable for residents. At the same time, we have a lot of deferred maintenance and projects that need to be taken care of, and so balancing those efforts is always tricky, and I trust that this board and the others will fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities and find that balance that our community needs. So thank you.
Thank you. I might mention to our residents that the budget meetings are open. If you are interested in that kind of thing, if you're a numbers person, please feel free to attend any of those meetings. I noticed that our honoree, Mr. Rainey, has come, and he was at his new job on the city council and was not able to be here earlier. So, Joe, if you would come forward, I'd like to present you with your picture. And our accommodation. And our accommodation.
Oh, my goodness.
Turn around so Lori can take a picture. Okay. If you'd like to say anything? We read them in your absence. We're not.
Madam President and members of the United Board, I want to thank you. I'm so grateful that you appointed me a year and a half ago to VMS Board. It's been a wonderful experience working with Brad and his staff, and they're remarkable people. I hope I did my job well, and I hope you were satisfied. I didn't do everything I wanted to do. But you know what? I'm on the city council now, and I know all of you. You're all my friends now. I'm the only one on the council from United.
Oh, my.
So I will try and be fair and partial, but still remember where I'm from, United. And I pledge to do the best I can for the residents of the city. Thank you so much for these accommodations. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we come to number 9 on our agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. You had a question for Brad?
Thank you very much, General Manager Brad Hudson. And yesterday during the budget presentation, you presented that the 4 pillars of excellence, and I really appreciate that's the kind of leadership we really want from you. And the 4 pillars of excellence are customer services, efficiency, transparency, and accountability. This is definitely the reason that we convert from a PCM to VMS. We thank you for the leadership in that. For customer services, I understand that you've evaluated some systems, but they were not satisfactory. May I suggest that maybe we can form a committee or something? I'm sure within our 18,000 residents here, there are some expert and quite a few residents that are familiar with the ERP system implementation, customer service relation management system. Maybe they can help out, identify and support you, making that reality, because this is something that we are definitely needing in our environment. And also about efficiency, is there any monitoring result of the efficiency that can help out provide us the information that we can see definite efficiency improvement effective for our community? That would be definitely like some kind of dashboard that presented during the other day that for some kind of committee, I believe it's a CAC committee, that would be definitely helpful, providing us that kind of information so we can share with our residents, these are the efficiency numbers that we definitely improved. Thank you very much.
Well, there are certainly bits and pieces of that are available, and you identified one. There are many. One that we've really started recently, and it's a way to get efficiency, and most residents don't know this, and maybe I shouldn't even share, or maybe I should, but every phone call, the 1.2 million calls that come in a year, every one are recorded and archived for a year. And so when we get customer service complaints from a resident dealing with a phone interaction, it's pretty easy to go back and listen to that call and figure out, okay, what happened here? Was there bad information? Was, bad attitude? Was a resident angry? All that. And so we dissect each and every one of those to find out exactly why the customer service interaction wasn't satisfactory to the resident. And so that's a tool we've been using as of late, and it's very, very effective. We also monitor the length of interactions. We know what an average should be, and is it too high or too low for a particular worker, and then we try to figure out why. And so there's quite a bit, and Chris is really responsible, she's sitting right there, really responsible for implementing that sort of monitoring and training system. These are really in my mind, the most important people in the village. They're handling the walk-in residents, the residents who call in. It's a lot of interactions, a lot of requests, and to make sure that we're monitoring that and making sure that we're providing the best up-to-date and accurate information to our residents, and that they're getting it in a way that is satisfactory, more than satisfactory, to them, is very important. So I'm very pleased with that. The piece, and I talked about this yesterday, that we really need to focus on next is our kind of work order entry CRM piece, that provides a more electronic means of monitoring performance and dispatching work at the request of our residents. Now, Chuck is pretty ingenious, and we've got some workarounds with the very inadequate system we have now. So we're mobilizing what we have now, sort of as an interim step. These pieces won't be wasted; they'll be integrated into what we move on to next. But so I think in terms of field services, residents are going to notice a dramatic improvement in the service levels that they get. We did a trial basis with landscaping, and the supervisors there, with respect to their time, reported about a 20% efficiency boost, just in terms of the number of customers they could serve with a mobile device, as opposed to going back and forth to the office all the time and writing out hand requests to the nursery for plants they needed at a particular location. You know, having that all electronic is a huge efficiency boost, and so we're pretty excited about that. I think we're going to get that same kind of gain with respect to plumbing and carpentry and electric and some of these other things. But it is basically a paper system still, that we're just getting better at shuffling the paper around. So ultimately, we need to get away from that and have a system that's not based in paper, and that's our goal. And I'm sure that Chuck will not underperform in that area. Right, Chuck?
No, sir.
Thank you. And Andre, certainly all of the statistics that Anthony gave us this morning lead to that, us to the number of calls we've had, and then all of those kinds of things show we are a huge, huge community. And when you have the thousands and thousands of people that live here, and they all need services, it's a real challenge to be able to service all of those. And we have come a long way in the last year, so I'm very proud of what we can do now. All right, now we come to our open forum. There's 3 minutes per speaker, and this is regarding items that are not on the agenda. And there's a maximum time limit of 3 minutes. And you can address the board only once during this period. We do not do a dialogue. We will hear all of the member comments, and then we will ask anybody at the dais if they want to respond. So would you please give us your name and manor number?
Tony Dower, 96C. I was former board member. I want to thank you for all your efforts to have solar powered. The cul-de-sac across the street from me in cul-de-sac 38 has a lot of solar power. There's no solar power in my cul-de-sac 39. We have plenty of rooftops. I would hope that you would continue on with your solar power. Also, I tried to talk about replacing grass to GRF last week, and I got some very mixed reactions, because I said, if you can replace grass, you'll get a rebate and you'll save money. You won't have to have so much water. And so a certain person said, well, you don't know how hot the grass could be if you replace it with artificial grass. And the last time I looked, I never saw anyone walking on their bare feet on grass. So how could it be hot? If you have dogs like I do not walk them on asphalt. Asphalt is much worse than artificial grass for being hot. Also, here's a couple of funny things. Today is the Wiener Schnitzel's 56 cents hot dogs. If you find a Wiener Schnitzel, go for it. I have no idea where there are. There's also 7-Eleven. They have Slurpees today that are free. And also, if you get bored, go down to the ocean and watch the surf coming in, because there's a lot of people trying to surf in there. And so I would say it must be fun because there's nothing else to do, right?
Thank you, Tony. Name and manor number, please.
Valerie Sand, 932A. I wanted to know what we are doing about the infestation of giant cockroaches. I came home on Sunday night, found one in my bathroom. I have it here, if anyone wants to see it. And thank God I caught him. And right after that, I went for a walk. I don't know why this fell upon me to have to present this, but I was walking after dark with a very bright flashlight, and I was going up the hill on Ronda Sevilla, and in front of building 900, there's a bunch of meters and boxes and gratings, and I saw hundreds of cockroaches. I called security. Security came up so they could verify it. I went up there last night to see if they had been exterminated, and they had not. And probably they're breeding thousands every day. But the good thing is I did find where they're coming from. At that location, they're coming out of a metal plate on the ground. And they are up to 2 inches. So I just thought it'd be very good if everybody knew about it so we can take care of it. And really, that has to be taken care of today. An exterminator has to go up there today because there were babies everywhere of every size, the teensiest ones, bigger, 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 up to 2 inches. So somebody found them. But I haven't heard anything about it. So you're not going to talk to me, but I want to know, are we doing something about it? Are you aware of it? And how come we haven't been told about it?
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other member comments? Name and manor number, please.
Barbara Copley, 410D. I just want to enhance or add to what President Skillman requested about returning our bylaws. We need to have bylaws. We tried them in 2012, and my name is on the back, which I'm not proud of. And we haven't updated them in many, many years. They're 10 pages less or more than we did before, and they're quite concise and clear. There's a box in the lobby. You can drop your ballot in that box, and please do it before August 2nd. Do it tomorrow.
July
Because-
30th.
Oh, is it July 30th?
August 2nd is when we're going to count them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw the August 2nd. Excuse me. But anyway, please, please get your vote in. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay. Name and manor number, please.
Yes, my name is Diana Barron, and I'm at 248D. And I have a question. I just want to make certain we're in the right place. Are you guys going to vote on registered domestic partnership today? Is there anything like that coming up?
No.
Then we're in the wrong meeting. Or caregivers?
We have voted on caregivers. We have a caregiver policy in place.
Okay. But this, you won't be having any hearings today in reference to that? Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
How do you follow cockroaches and Wiener Schnitzel?
Name and manor number, please.
H. Bruce Block, 2063, Unit C. With all this budgetary business that's coming up right now, I'm sure the United residents definitely are concerned about the cost that we pay monthly On the other hand, I would say that we also want to pay fairly for the services that we use. One of the items, obviously, that's going to be a problem coming up is the golf fees. The other one, which I'm more interested in, is the RV lot and the fees that they charge per year for that. The problem here basically is that you've got a comparison with outside places versus what the golf course would charge out there in the real world, and then in here, as an example, what we would have to pay, what we are paying. Same thing with the RV. My concern here in the RV particularly is we've gone through this, it's like deja vu all over again. Where we talk about all this additional costs or charges outside where the private individual is making money and so on. Internally here, we have our own California laws and so on, and it turns out every time we go through this, it's basically you have to pay the operational costs. And that's it. And we get away from all this other stuff and what it costs outside and so on. I would just ask that the people that are involved here and the board that are involved in any of these budgetary things, please consider, the restrictions that we do have in operating. And I would not waste a bunch of time concerned about increasing fees tremendously when it's really not appropriate to do that. And we do want to pay our fair share. I think this is true of all the clubs and everything. We want to pay what really is reality. But what is it that it costs to operate that given facility? Example, the RV lot. That's mine. Thank you. Thanks for hearing.
Thank you very much. All right, any other member comments? Okay, in that case, I will close member comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, now we're going to get to responses from member comments. So if you wish to speak, please press your request to speak button so I can call on you. And Pat, we'll start with you.
Okay. I'd like to talk to Barbara a little bit, first of all, with regard to the bylaws. And I've had some comments that I take it's very important, they are, the comments. I have voted in favor of it. However, I was very disappointed when I got my package and I couldn't see what changes had been made. I expected to get something with track changes. So I could see this has been changed, that's been changed, but nothing like that. Apparently we have to go to the website to find that. I was not aware of that before today. So this is something everybody really needs to bear in mind about the bylaws, that you can read the changes. However, I'd have to get Leslie or Karine to tell you just where they are on the website, because I honestly don't know. I haven't looked for them. Anyway, and then on to Bruce. Bruce, we have a lot of deferred, I think your name was Bruce, wasn't it, the gentleman that just spoke? We have a lot of deferred maintenance, especially in United. And what our budget will be doing will be increasing the number of people that we're hiring to do a lot of this maintenance work, and some of the project managers too. We really, really, really need to do this. So I expect that our fees might go up a little bit, not a huge amount, maybe $10 or something like that, but we need to do it, we really do. And as treasurer of this organization, I'd like to recommend that we increase the number of employees under maintenance so we can get some of the work done. Thank you.
Steve Leonard.
To Mr. Dower, the solar PV that has been purchased and installed by United Mutual was designed to service approximately a minimum of 80% of the common area electricity needs. 8 specific sites were chosen for their specific location for irradiance from the sun, and there are no plans now, and I don't believe there will be in any future to provide any more solar than we've already attained. To Bruce, on the dues and the fees, GRF sets the fee schedules for all of their locations, clubhouses, dining room fees, meeting rooms. So they set the RV fees, they set the golf club fees. So that's not anything that this board that has a direct impact on. We certainly may have some influence on those fees, but ultimately it is the GRF committees and boards who will set those fees. Thank you.
Andre, you're next.
Thank you very much for everybody's comment. I'm a member of the RV club, and I received a lot of emails and phone calls from the RV club about this issue. And I understand this is a GRF issue. Steve has mentioned. Hopefully, we'll have GRF talk to the RV club, and jointly we can come up with the resolution, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Okay. I don't have any more requests.
Yeah, I pushed mine.
Oh.
We're having trouble with my machine.
Okay, all right, Maxine.
Thank you. Let's see, okay. Regarding Barbara Copley, encouraging everyone to vote, appreciated that very much. You know, the packet we received at home, technically, that's a legal document because we're changing the mutual bylaws. So we couldn't give you what I would call an easy for Maxine to understand in half an hour document. We had to give you the finished one. If we had given out a red line document so that all the changes were underlined in red and you could go right to those and see how many of them were little tiny things, but we got them done. That's why you have to go on the internet to get that. This is a legal document once you send in your ballot and you vote. So we couldn't make it easier. That's why there's a cover letter. And I appreciate Barbara imploring everybody to please vote yes. And then Diane, regarding the caregiver policy. You can go right across the corridor here in the building, and they'll be happy to give you a copy of that caregiver policy. And then the lady, Valerie, with her little pet that she brought in the bag today. Are you still here, Valerie?
She left.
Where are you?
No,
She left. You know, I guess we're going to have to announce at the beginning of this section of the meeting that we always respond after you finish talking so more people will stay around. But I know that we have the general manager sitting right here. I know that's going to be taken care of. Nothing gets by him. Thank you.
Anybody else whose button didn't?
I see that Jeff pushed his
Okay,
button.
sorry. Jeff Borman, our attorney.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. I'd like to make a comment about the proposed amended bylaws that were mailed out to everybody, and just comment on a couple of the points that were raised this morning, as well as to give the board and the community my insight on the process that took place that ended up in the package being mailed. Number one, I can't be more proud and enthusiastic about the hard work that not just the board, but especially the committee put into the analysis of the current bylaws. And Ms. Copley made a comment about her name being on the prior draft and not being proud about it. But at that time, those were the best bylaws that could have been put out. But time changes and the community changes and your needs have changed. And so with that, the board recognized the need to change your bylaws. And so we went forward with working with the governing document committee and keeping certain goals in mind. And we kept it very simple. The goals were to make them simple so everybody can understand them to the extent possible. And Madam President did make a comment earlier that although it is a legal document, it has to contain some legalese. To the extent we were able to take out that legalese, we did. And that's why you have a document that went from 40 plus pages to now just over, I believe, 10 pages.
20.
or around 20 pages. So it was shortened quite a bit for your benefit. So you can open up the bylaws and understand exactly how your community is expected to run. There are other goals in mind as well. If you look at your existing bylaws, your bylaws that are in place right now, there's extensive language in them that are antiquated and outdated. Language that's referring to HUD and Federal Housing Administration and certain entities and requirements that were required by the developer, the Cortese family. That's all been deleted. Terminology that was not used consistently, or at least used at a time when other terms were later defined by current law, have been clarified. For example, the use of the word manor and unit has been made consistent. So we're just using one word now, so everybody understands proper terminology. Shareholder and member, that term was not used consistently. We've corrected that. We've clarified what governing documents are. Everybody needs to know what the governing documents are of United. And that's been clarified. Articles of incorporation, the bylaws, the occupancy agreement, board resolutions. Another thing we thought of going forward with these new bylaws is how can we use them as a tool to educate not just the board but the members on the structure of United and what's expected of not just the members but the board as well, and we did that as well. As far as the updating of the document, throughout it, there's provisions that are contrary to current law. And you might step back and think, well, Jeff, just because the law has changed doesn't mean you have to go out to the community and ask the members to vote on an amendment to correct that inconsistency. And that's correct. But the bylaws are the source document for you as the members and for the board to rely on in operating and managing your community and knowing what you as members are expected to do and what you as members can expect the board to do for you. And so with documents that have inconsistent or outdated laws that conflict with current laws, it's a document that you can't rely on, that doesn't have credibility. And so we corrected that, and we made sure that all the new laws have been brought into the bylaws to the extent that they could be used by you. We renumbered sections that are no longer in existence under the California law. And I'll just give you a couple examples. The law changed as far as members' rights to approach the board and ask for internal dispute resolution. There are certain protections afforded to members regarding the ability for the United to collect assessments from you and to initiate foreclosure proceedings. Those protections have been brought into the bylaws, intended to protect the members. The election and voting procedures have been clarified. Those laws changed many years ago. 2006, July 2006, those laws changed, and your bylaws are outdated. And in fact, since then, your elections have proceeded in a way where it was very difficult because the members who were members 15 days before a vote or an election were the members entitled to vote. But the law requires the ballots to be sent no more than 30 days before the vote or election. And it was very difficult to navigate around that, especially when the ballots are mailed out 30 days before the election or the vote, or more. But then people transfer memberships, and members change between the time of the mailing and the actual vote, and that wasn't addressed in your bylaws, so we corrected that as well. Also added to your bylaws, which is very important, are required annual reports. Every year you have to receive an annual budget report and an annual policy statement that contains very, very important, critical information to the members to understand their rights and to understand what they can expect for next year in their community. And that's been added to the bylaws as well in Article 12, Section 6. And then second to last, a couple housekeeping items. There are not in your draft a table of contents, but that's an administrative matter. So with my hope, and I'm going to start a wager, my wish is that these documents will pass, and when they do pass, we will add a table of contents to them before they're signed and provided to the members. There was also a comment about the par values being omitted, which they were intentionally because they're no longer necessary. Membership in United is based on not par values, but on the issuance of a stock certificate to a member and the signing of an occupancy agreement, and that's what triggers membership. Also, as far as the track changes and red line draft of the bylaws, so you can see exactly what changes were made. They are available on the website, and if you can't find them, please contact staff or a member of your board for further direction on that. And then lastly, if I may, I know the board has a lot of time and I appreciate the opportunity, but there were some emails and comments that I'm aware of that questioned the current draft bylaws and certain changes to membership in United. I just want everybody to know that the changes that were made are non-substantive changes to terminology and changes to make the bylaws consistent with current law. There have not been any changes as to the definition of who a member is. A member is someone who purchases into United and is issued a stock certificate and is asked to sign an occupancy agreement. Once the occupancy agreement is signed and a stock certificate is issued, that person becomes a member of United and automatically becomes a member of Golden Rain Foundation. This is consistent with Section 4190 of the Civil Code. The Civil Code defines what a stock cooperative is. United is a stock cooperative. It's not a condominium association. It's a stock cooperative. And the very essence and definition of what a stock cooperative is, which you all as members agree to be members of by purchasing in United, is based on the issuance of a stock certificate and the signing of an occupancy agreement. Those two actions together constitute and define what a member is in United. Also, questions have been asked about, well, what if I'm a member and I pass away? Based on the definition of a stock cooperative and a member, that means if my heirs inherit my membership and they're not age qualified, they're no longer able to be members. And that's true. That's always been true. Your bylaws have always been very clear about that. If a successor trustee or an heir inherits and they're under 55, they have to qualify for membership, and if they're unable to, they have 90 days to go forward with the sale of the manor and the membership. So that's nothing that's changed. That's always been in existence. Who may be an occupant hasn't changed either. Qualified residents are qualified residents, and they're defined by law. That has not changed whatsoever, as well as co-occupants. Who may be a co-occupant hasn't changed. So these are things that I wanted to just make sure everybody understands, and if anybody has any further questions, the board, staff, we're all here for the members that are looking at the ballot, looking at the proposed amended bylaws, and if anybody doesn't feel they're adequately informed or comfortable, to please come forward and gather that information you need to hopefully vote yes for this very, very beneficial document. Now, last point, actually second to last point, I keep saying that, I apologize. Anytime you put anything out to the community to vote on, you're never going to get something that everybody's going to agree on. I think what I ask of everybody, and then I implore upon you to hopefully talk to your neighbors about, is let's look at the overall objective. And if you look at this document after listening to me, the board, and asking questions, you honestly feel that there are much more benefits and a lot of good to the ultimate outcome of these bylaws. If you happen to disagree with one provision, or you may not like the wording in one area, please don't use that to vote no for this very important measure. It's the totality of the circumstances that I think you should focus on, and the greater good of these new bylaws, I think, outweigh any maybe minor dissatisfaction with a section or wording or paragraph that you may come across. It's very difficult to come up with something that everybody is 110% satisfied or happy with, but I think it's the overall overwhelming objective that we're trying to seek that everybody should focus on, not maybe one minor issue that someone's dissatisfied about. And then now, I promise lastly, to ride the coattails of Mr. Dower, who unfortunately left. He forgot and left out Wendy's has 50-cent Frosties as well. So you can add that to the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate your clarifying that for all of our members at home who are watching this on TV or will be watching it on TV. And as he said, if you go to www.lagunawoodsvillage.com, our website, and click on Current Residents, you will find, first thing that comes up is an article on United Bylaws and a red-line version of the old bylaws and what was changed. So if you want to go into that detail, please feel free. We're not hiding anything. As with the rest of the village, transparency is what we're trying to accomplish, but we're also trying to make sure that we are up to the 21st century and have everything the way it's supposed to be. I have Janie wants to speak.
I wanted to thank Juanita, along with the whole committee that spent, I would say, a good year or so working on the bylaws and some of our other documents, bringing them all up to date. And I really want to thank you, Jeff, for such a wonderful explanation of what our bylaws and our vote was all about. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And next we had Andre.
Yes, I understand the governing document committee spent a lot of time on it. I really appreciate that. This is really fine detail, like a tomb cruise going through the whole process. I could never do it, and I really appreciate the committee helping out. As far as there's got a lot of requests about heirs under 55 must sell their units once the members died. So this is the right place to talk about it, or should we wait until the next?
I think Jeff just answered that.
Yes. So my question at this point is, there are a few people who are very concerned with that. If they, Jeff suggested that we look at the totality of this bylaw and approve that. If we want to change that, is that already in the bylaw, or is that going to be something?
No, it's not new. It has been in the bylaws since the beginning.
Okay, so if we want to change that, does that mean we're going to have another bylaw change voting? Not going to be changed.
Depends on how substantive the change is. That sounds like it would be a substantive change, and yes, we would have to go out to the members for another vote. And as you know, and many of our members do not know, that is a very expensive proposition to send that out to 6,323 units for a vote. And we have to have a certain percentage back in order to do this, whether it's yes or no or whatever. We need to have the return ballots in order to have a quorum for this to be legal. Otherwise, all of this has been in vain. So there are changes that could be made, depending on how substantive they are. That's something that we could always look at. But if it's a substantive change, yes, the bylaws would have to go out again.
Okay, thank you very much for your comment.
Okay. Maxine?
Yes, I wanted to ask, I know this is different from our election toward the end of the
Mike?
year. Oh. This is a different situation from when we're electing new directors each year for the board, when you can easily get another ballot if you've lost yours or threw it out before you decided to vote. Is there a way, can we give a phone number to members for all of a sudden I can't think of their name.
Inspector of Elections.
Yes, to get a duplicate ballot.
It's on the website.
It's on the website, and it's with this, and yes, you can. If you did not get a ballot, you have to call the Inspector of Elections to have a new ballot issued.
And anybody have that phone number handy?
No.
For people who don't have a computer?
Yeah, it's on your website. If you go under the United Bylaws, which is the first issue there.
I'll find it for you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Maggie?
Yes, Andre, we would have to go through the whole process of redoing the bylaws. This has been a provision we are a 55 and over development. This has been a provision since the beginning of United. It is nothing that has been changed in our bylaws or in our governing documents since then. We have not messed with that. We still have it. I don't know how many of them followed it before or when they stopped following it, but we are following it now. And that has always been provisions in our bylaws and in our governing documents. It would take a whole new beginning for that. Best thing to do, because it does not affect this ballot. You can in no way affect that by whatever you vote on this ballot. If that issue becomes a real issue for us, it also affects our 55 and over status on other matters and certain things, then that needs to be taken up by the community to see if we are no longer going to be a 55 restricted group. So the fact that somebody hasn't been careful about following it before does not mean the wording has been changed or the law our rules are no longer there. Our rules are there. We are simply restoring the rules that are existing. We notice them. We know that they should be followed. So this has no effect on this ballot whatsoever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Andre, you only get one.
Okay, I just want every
No.
member of the board member understand that if your children is not 55 years old and you passed away, your children have to sell it too.
That's right. That's right.
All agreed, okay.
All right, everybody, I hope, knows in United, we are a stock cooperative. You do not own your unit. You own a leasehold in 3-year periods and the right to occupy that unit. And so you may use this as an estate planning tool. And yes, your heirs can inherit the membership, the stock certificate, but if they can't be members, they can't live here and they can't sublet it. So that has been in there since the beginning. It is not a change. And people just need to remember, we don't, as individuals, own our unit. They are owned by United Mutual. I do have the telephone number. The Inspector of Elections is Martin and Chapman, and their number is 714-516-8121. I'll repeat that, 714-516-8121. If you did not get a ballot or you mistakenly threw it away, please call them and ask for a duplicate ballot. All right, we will go on to item 11, which is the consent calendar. And I'd like to remind everybody that the consent calendar are matters that are under recommended actions by committees. Our work is all done in committees. The debate, the research, all of these things are done in committees. And if committees recommend an action, they can go, then it goes on the consent calendar for ratification by the entire board. We do have an opportunity now for any board member to pull an item off the consent calendar if they feel that they need to discuss it. Are there any items on the consent calendar that need to be pulled? May I have a motion to, oh, I'm sorry, Maggie?
Okay. The last one, Entertain a motion to approve standard manner alterations. There has been an amendment to the very last section of that. So if you have the package, your number 13 has been adjusted. And it now says, the last two lines say.
We're not there.
Well, this is the consent calendar is.
Right, it's
11A, and this is the 5th item under 11A. Okay, so this is number 13 of that. Of the 11A is the architectural. Okay. Standard manner alteration conditions. Okay, see above 11B, it says entertain a motion to approve standard manner alteration conditions. Those conditions are in your package. I'm telling you that it is page 17 of 23, but it's actually, you're looking at page 19 of 23. 19 of 23, I'm reading the very last sentence. Existing structural elements proposed to be tied to which exhibit signs of dry rot or other structural defects must be repaired at mutual expense prior to installation.
correct. And that correction came to my attention this morning, thanks to Steve. I think what we did on these conditions, I tried really hard to separate United from third, and I think what happened is the third condition got in here, and so we needed to make that correction. And keep in mind, these are an ever-changing document, the conditions of approval. You're approving the base. There's 6 pages, and what we do when we have an application in request, say it's for to redo the kitchen, then they would just get those conditions that deal with a kitchen, for example, number 12, which is our camera one. However, we wouldn't use that camera one if somebody was just asking to remodel a bedroom. And so we pick and choose which ones we need, and these are the base. Thank you, Lori. All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Do you want to speak?
No,
Madam Secretary, has everybody voted?
no.
Oh, I need a second, yes.
You only have to hit it one time, because you're hitting it, hitting it, and turning it off. Hit it one time.
Okay, do I have a motion and a second?
We have a second, we don't have a motion, though.
Call somebody, just raise your hand.
Raise your hand, I'll just type it in for you.
All right, I have a motion and a second. We now go to discussion.
We're gonna voting on.
Okay,
It's,
all right, we will commence voting.
Madam President, if you have a motion, is there a
Yes.
comment permitted?
Yes, certainly. Sorry, Barbara, I didn't see you
That's
there.
okay. We've been discussing this, and it is my feeling that if you permit a change in the manner, for instance, a bathroom or a washer dryer or fancy kitchens or whatever, and you're contemplating running the camera through the line, that burden, because you've permitted, would fall on the mutual. So do we have can I have clarity on that?
That's correct.
Okay.
okay, we're voting.
All right. Now we're voting. Please commence voting.
Who was the second? Do you know?
It should show. All right, it passes 9-0. Madam Secretary, can you tell us who the second on that?
Oh, Morrison? Okay.
I'm sorry, you're not on my request to speak. Did you press your button?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Real quickly, I wanted to thank, I wanted to thank Lori for picking up that item number 13 this morning, and thank you, Steve, for that.
All right, let's move on to number 12, our unfinished business. No, the consent calendar includes 11A, 11B, 11C, and 11D, so those have all been passed on the consent calendar. All right, number 12, unfinished business. 12A, the board would like to appoint Kay Anderson as an advisor on the Architectural Control and Standards Committee. May I have a motion to do so?
Did mine come through?
I did mine first.
Oh,
She's the chair. All right, we'll let Maxine second it.
okay.
All right, a motion has been made by Janie Durrell and seconded by Maxine McIntosh to approve Kay Anderson as an advisor on the Architectural Control and Standards Committee. Let's commence voting.
Question.
Yes.
I thought this committee chair's responsibility to appoint advisor.
Can't hear you.
We approve it. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I thought it's the chair, committee chair's responsibility to appoint advisor, not the board responsibility to appoint.
We
advisor.
approve it. We endorse it.
Okay, so it's approve, not appoint.
Right. Sorry.
Okay.
All right, please vote. Has everybody voted? Yes. All right, there we go. 9-0, and the motion passes. All right. 12B, at an earlier meeting, open meeting, which was our agenda prep meeting, the board appointed Richard Rader as our representative on VMS to replace Joe Rainey. And so at this meeting, what we want to do is to ratify that appointment. So would you vote, please, to ratify the appointment of Richard Rader? Okay.
Okay. Mover. Gary.
Okay.
May we ask a question or make a comment? Is it open for that?
It is a motion. Yes, Terry, you may.
What are his qualifications? No, I'd like to know what his qualifications are, since we're transparent. VMS is about the most untransparent thing we have here. So what are his qualifications? May I ask, or should I just go below?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Richard, would you please answer his question?
Thanks, Dick.
Certainly.
By the way, Terry, would you give us your matter number?
3335 3D.
What? I'm
3335 3D.
33.
35 3D.
All right, you're not a member of United.
I'm a member of the village.
It doesn't matter.
VMS runs the village.
No,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
At this point, it's just for there.
It's an old habit, 10 years resident of the United, sorry.
Thank you, Dick. We know you're fully qualified, you may say.
Okay, thank you.
We'll vote.
All right. We'll commence voting.
They voted.
We already voted 9-0 to ratify it.
We want it.
Thank you. All right, agenda item 13. This is our new business. As you know, we did the first notification at our June meeting, and we had to postpone to our September meeting. We have to have 30 days between when it comes up and when we do the final vote on it. And both June to July and July to August are 29 days. So we have to go an extra month. So 13A, I would entertain a motion to approve a proposed hot tub standard policy.
So
And yes, would you read the resolution, please?
All right, I'll read this with the amendment in it. Whereas in United Mutual, no standard exists for exterior hot tubs, and the board has received complaints from neighbors regarding noise issues, and whereas the city of Laguna Woods has no standards for exterior hot tubs, but the municipal code does regulate noise, and whereas the standard specifically prohibits hot tubs in atriums with common walls, and on balconies. Additionally, the standard requires that hot tubs be portable, drain only in the sanitary sewer, comply with city noise standards, and obtain a mutual consent for manner alterations. And whereas the member is required to provide proof of personal liability insurance with limits of at least $1 million per occurrence with an insurer with an AM Best rating of A-8 or higher, I don't know what that is, and to name United Laguna Woods Mutual as an additional insurer. And whereas a hot tub must be covered and may require a lock when not in use, subject to the California Building Code. And now therefore be it resolved that on September 12, 2017, the governing documents review and the maintenance and construction committees recommend approval of a hot tub standard, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Do you move it?
I so move, but my move button is not up.
We already have Maxine and Gary already.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I would point out that this is a motion to postpone to September for final vote, because we need the 30-day requirement for member input. So, Maxine and Gary, would you vote, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Steve?
I have an issue with this resolution as written, specifically as it pertains to the language that says comply with city noise standards. The city noise standards are, I think everybody has a copy of it. And if you look at page 3, it speaks to the exterior noise standards being 55 decibels between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 50 decibels at 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And under item B, there are 5 provisions that say it may be 5 dB louder, 10 dB louder, 15 dB louder, or 20 dB louder for certain periods of time or none at all. My issue with this is that if you do research as to the decibel ratings of heat pumps and air conditioning compressors from major manufacturers like Goodman and Carrier, you will find that their stated specifications exceed 70 decibels. So my concern is we're creating a noise measurement standard on an outdoor portable spa, which will be tighter than air conditioning compressors and heat pumps, which are prevalent throughout the entire mutual. And if you are to go by those city noise standards, then I believe we're going to open ourselves up to a situation where you're going to be able to have one neighbor make a complaint against another neighbor's air conditioning compressor that's not following the standard. So I would recommend either striking the comply with city noise standards from this resolution or sending it back to committee.
Thank you. Any other comments? Oops. Mr. Rader?
I wonder if anybody has any information on what the manufacturers of hot tubs have for decibels. What's the highest rating? Because this is something pertaining to hot tubs.
Thank you. Barbara?
Barbara Copley, 410. If you don't go by the city standards, you're not going to get a permit. It's not going to be legal. The city is going to have to give a permit on this if this documentation goes through. I think it's done very well, and it's very stringent. I do notice that there is sort of a, you mentioned, Maggie, an addendum on the previous page to the resolution, and that has a lot of other little things in it that I don't know if you're going to include it in the resolution or not. I can't find it now. Oh, here it is, on page 13A, 5 of 7. Has definitions, obligations, and applications, and some of them are not included in the resolution, which is shorter. So I don't know what that means.
It means the resolution is for the policy and includes everything in the policy.
But it doesn't. That's my point.
We don't have to spell it out in the resolution. The resolution is for the policy.
Right.
Well,
Just like the term municipal code. We put that it has to follow the municipal code, but we don't write all that out.
so then what happens if they only go by the resolution and they don't have it on a concrete slab and, you know, all these other little ditties that are mentioned on this white page?
They're not going to get a permit to do it. They have to
Well,
follow
that's
the
my
policy.
point. That's my point. Shouldn't we spell it out more clearly?
That's really not necessary. Any other comments? Pat?
Yeah, I would like to say it seems like there's quite a bit of confusion, and it's not too clear, the resolution. And I can see what Steve is saying, and as a result, I would recommend we send this back to committee to get clarified before we bring it forward, because it is an important resolution, and we can't afford to have different people saying different things about it. We need to have it clear. Thank you.
All right, we are ready to vote. Would you commence voting, please?
Are we?
We're voting
You
on
vote on the on
to
the
approve
motion on the
the
floor.
policy, right, and postpone it to September.
Postponing it, huh?
Yeah, this is the initial vote.
The 30-day, yeah.
This is the
Okay.
initial vote. Comes back again in September.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought maybe I didn't make it clear, but maybe I should make this more clear. I'd like to make an amendment to this motion.
All right, you did not make an amendment at this
You did
time,
not.
so.
To send this back to committee. So is my request not going to be
It's not in
considered?
order because when you spoke, you did not make an amendment, and we have already gone to voting, so you may vote no.
Yeah, if you vote no, it can go back to committee.
Well, only if everybody does.
All right. If enough people
All
do.
right, okay.
All right, commence
Todd?
voting. Has everybody voted? All right, we have 4 yes and 5 no, so the motion fails.
Okay.
Okay. Now it will go back to committee.
Oh, it goes back automatically?
Well, if it fails, then we want to
Withdraw that.
All right, we have item 13B, a motion to approve a resolution regarding the use of common area for certain improvements. Resolution must again be postponed for 30 days, so that makes it our September meeting. Would you read that resolution, please, Madam Secretary?
Resolution 0117XX, use of common area for certain improvements. Whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual is a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, existing under and by virtue of the laws of the state of California, organized for the purpose of providing its members with housing on a cooperative nonprofit basis pursuant to the provisions set forth in its articles of incorporation and bylaws. Whereas United, through its volunteer board of directors, is responsible for management, maintenance, and administration of a residential stock cooperative common interest development under United's governing documents, which include without limitations the articles of incorporation, bylaws, occupancy agreement, operating rules, and board resolutions, which grant United the authority to manage and govern the affairs of the properties within United. Whereas under the governing documents, the prior written consent of United is required before a member may perform any alteration to a building. Whereas United's architectural alteration standards address, among other things, the installation, alteration, and modification of utility fixtures, components, and lines such as, but not limited to, air conditioning units, heat pumps, solar panels, soft water units, exhaust fan vent installations, water heater relocation, etc. Whereas the board desires to allow requesting members to install certain utility appliances in the common area, provided the appliances are those customary and standard for the use and enjoyment of the manor, the installation does not unreasonably impair United's ability to maintain the common area, the installation does not unreasonably impair the member's right to use and enjoy the common area, and the requesting member otherwise complies with the provisions of the architectural alteration standards regarding alterations. Whereas before any member will be permitted to install a utility appliance in the common area, the member shall enter into a covenant and agreement to be recorded against the member's manor in the Orange County Clerk Recorder's Office, wherein the member agrees to maintain the utility appliance and indemnify, defend, and hold United harmless in a form to be provided by United through management. Whereas any utility installation shall not be permitted to create a nuisance or otherwise unreasonably interfere with the quiet enjoyment of a neighboring resident. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors hereby adopts the following resolution. Placement of certain utility appliances will be permitted in the common area, provided the appliances are those customary and standard for the use and enjoyment of the manor. The installation does not unreasonably impair United's ability to maintain the common area. The installation does not unreasonably impair the member's rights to use and enjoy the common area. And the requesting member otherwise complies with the provisions of the architectural alteration standards regarding alterations, including without limitation, seeking and obtaining the prior written consent of the Board of Directors. Resolved further, the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
All right, I have a request to speak from Jamie.
Question for Jeff. My question is, Jeff, do we need to include a certain size of our common area specifically so we don't have somebody go in there with a 10-foot by 10-foot use of our common area, or does it need to be limited or addressed?
I think it's a good question, and I think that the standards and the language that's in the resolution will address those types of issues. If someone comes in with a request to take over a rather large area, it'll be denied based on the current standard that you're currently considering. But the prior approval process, I think, is going to screen that and weed those issues out.
One of the reasons that I have this question is we don't know in the future what, let's say, the solar battery backup. What size is that going to be? Is it going to be larger than we think? Are we covered ourselves for future as far as the size of whatever the utility may require?
Yeah, my philosophy is to give you and staff the ability to evaluate each scenario on its face, because I think there are some situations based on the proposed location that may take up very, very little space, but because of the location and what's being proposed to be installed, could be intrusive, and you may deny it. So if you come up with a certain maximum space that could be used, that may not be the end-all. You may want to give yourself discretion to deny something, even if it's very, very minor in nature as far as taking over space.
So what's going to happen here is I put in the staff report on page 1 of 3. Staff is going to look at these on a case-by-case basis with the rule that they won't exceed 30 square feet for total for a manor. So that doesn't mean that they can have 30 for a water heater, 30 for an HVAC, 30 for solar. It's 30 total. And once someone's request goes over that, or once someone's request, staff is not comfortable approving it on their own, then we'll ask them to apply for a variance and take it to the architectural committee.
Thank you.
That'll be the practice. All right. No more, yes, let's see. Steve?
I just wanted to address Janie's concern on batteries for solar power. Currently, the type of backup battery situations that would be installed in an outdoor area would be similar in size and dimension to that of a Tesla Powerwall, as we don't have garages in our units. So they're not very deep. They might be 3 or 4 feet long and maybe a foot or 2 wide, but they might be 5 or 6 feet high. So I think under those auspices, they wouldn't be taking up very much common area, but there might be objections from consent forms from other neighbors about, well, I don't want to be looking at something that's mounted to the wall at 6 feet high. So I think as written and as Lori Moss has stated, and also our attorney, I think we're in good shape here.
Jeff, you wanted to make a comment?
Just real quick on the staff's discretion here about the 30 square foot space per manor, and to Janie's good question as well. I think Steve is spot on. Just because staff may have a general guideline of 30 square feet doesn't mean they're going to automatically approve what's being proposed. I think there's other guidelines in this policy that's going to protect the adjacent neighbors and United's ability to maintain and use that area as well.
I don't have any other comments, so will we commence voting, please? And remember, what we are voting is to put this forward to our September meeting to approve it. What we're approving is moving it ahead to our September meeting.
I have a motion from Director Blackwell and a second from Leonard.
All right, commence voting.
I didn't get it either. There we go.
Thank you so much.
Has everybody voted?
Yeah. Director Bassler?
You got it.
All right, the motion passes 9-0. Last under new business, we have 13C. That's a motion to approve a resolution to remove standard specifications for atrium enclosures, with common walls. And again, this would be postponed to our September to confirm conform to the 30-day requirements, and what we're doing today is voting to move it forward to the September meeting. Do I have any comments, questions?
Resolution 01. XX. Variance requirement for common wall enclosure of atrium. Whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual is a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation existing under and by California, organized for the purpose of providing its members with housing on a cooperative nonprofit basis pursuant to the provisions set forth in its articles of incorporation and bylaws. Whereas United, through its volunteer board of directors, is responsible for management, maintenance, and administration of a residential stocks cooperative common interest development under United's governing documents, which include, without limitation, the articles of incorporation, bylaws, occupancy agreement, operating rules, and board resolutions, which grant United the authority to manage and govern the affairs. Where are we? The affairs.
End of the second paragraph.
Oh, yes. The affairs of the properties within United. Whereas the governing documents, the prior written consent of United is required before a member may perform any alteration to a building. Now therefore it be resolved, September 12, 2017, that the Board of Directors hereby rescinds Resolution 01-10-170, that atrium enclosures on Granada and Valencia style manors can be issued a mutual consent for manor alterations without board approval. Resolved further, the Board of Directors of this corporation require that any future atrium enclosures on Barcelona, Granada, and Valencia-style manors will require board approval of a variance before a mutual consent for manor alterations can be issued. And resolved further, the mutual continues to require a non-sleeping certificate from the City of Laguna Woods. And resolve further, the mutual require a neighborhood awareness notice of hearing on alterations at manor. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I so move.
Okay, yes, I'm just looking at a couple of paragraphs here, and it seems to me there's a conflict. So I need clarification on it. 1, 2, 3. In the fourth paragraph down, now therefore, it states that Granada and Valencia style manors can be issued a mutual consent for manor alterations without board approval. And then the next paragraph, any future atrium enclosures of Barcelona, Granada, and Valencia style manors will require board approval. So in the one paragraph, we're saying Valencia does not require this board approval. And on the next one, it says it does. So I'm confused.
Just to clarify, so the first now therefore is saying that we're rescinding Resolution 01-10-170, that atrium enclosures on Granada and Valencia style manors can be issued. So we're rescinding that in that first now therefore. And then in the second one, the resolve further, we're saying that the three do need a variance. We're changing from existing to new rules. Yeah. All right, Maxine?
No, my question's answered.
All right, Andre?
Sorry, I wasn't involved in this architecture resolution request. So can somebody give me a quick why we do this one so I can respond to the residents if they ask the question?
These are the areas where if
It's your
if we allow
responsibility as
it,
a director to know.
it causes, isn't this the one where a wall will block the view of the other people? So that's why this is here, because the wall, if you allow the atrium to be enclosed, it will block the view of the neighbor because they have a contiguous wall. They have a common wall between them. And so where does the roof go if you have,
Yeah, I understand that. If the wall is at the ceiling high, the roof high, is that acceptable? Or it has to be,
There's a variance, and we need to have a neighbor, the person who it is affecting on the other side, give their view. It's now allowed just as a standard, and they could come in and do it. And we're saying in the future, we need to look at how it affects the person on the other side of that wall.
and is it just a formality that if the ceiling at the roof high, it will be automatically approved?
No,
or?
no.
No?
If there is a contiguous wall between them, it has to go for an alteration variance.
Okay, thank you.
Barbara?
I don't know, probably some of you know about this, but there's been a huge issue in third on this very item of the atrium. And the end result, well, it isn't the end yet, but it has been reviewed by realtors, and the person who is the owner of the condominium has been told he loses about $10,000 in value when the opposing atrium is enclosed.
So what we're saying is any atrium enclosure that has a common wall needs a variance, and it needs to be looked at by the committee. All right, are we ready to vote? Commence voting, please. We have a motion by Maggie, seconded by Janie. Please commence voting.
This came up online, I tried to. No, I'm not, this is it. I'm sorry, Ms. Randall.
All right, did you vote?
Yes.
Has everybody voted? All right, it passes 7-2. All right, now we go to item 14 on our agenda, which is committee reports. As I mentioned before, most of the business of the community and the mutual is done in committee. And so we get a report from the various committee chairs as to what's happening, when their next meeting is going to be, at that sort of thing. So can we have the financial report from our treasurer, Pat English?
Okay. Turn the mic on. Would you please pull up slide number 1? Okay. The total revenue for United through May 31st, 2017 was $16,416,000, compared to the expenses of the same time, which was $14,497,000. This resulted in greater revenue than expenses by nearly $2 million, $1.919 million. Slide 2, please. With a favorable bottom line of $1,919,000 compared to a planned deficit of $122,000 through May. United was better than budget by $2,040,000, primarily due to timing of the reserve programs. The waistline replacement program, where the work started in May, the manor water heater replacements, researching alternative methods, and the roof replacement, where work started in May. The favorable variance in these programs was partially offset by an unfavorable variance in compensation and related expenses. Unbudgeted hours for overtime and temporary help were required to address turnover, higher call volume, and extended hours in resident service. Further, janitorial costs are overstated due to an allocation issue and will be corrected this month. Slide number 3, please. On this pie chart, we show the non-assessment revenues received to date of $566,000 by category, starting with our largest revenue-generating category, miscellaneous, which is primarily due to the collection of an annual golf cart electric fee, followed by interest income and fees. Slide 4, please. On this pie chart, we see the expenses to date, just under $14.5 million, showing that our largest categories of expense are for compensation and property taxes, followed by utilities and outside services. Slide number 5, please. The reserve balances on May 31st, 2017 were just over $22 million. Our year-to-date contributions and interest to reserves were $5,000,096. Our year-to-date expenditures were $3,426,000. Our board will be reviewing the proposed 2018 business plan this Friday. We will address operating costs, revenues, reserves, and contingency fund contributions. We encourage all interested members to attend and become familiar with the programs and services that comprise your monthly assessments. And then I'm going to go on to the delinquencies. I was pleased to see that our delinquencies had gone down by nearly 20,000. The delinquencies, let's see what date have we got on this. I think it's the end of May. But I want to make sure that's right. June. Delinquencies as of June were $78,254 in total. This was for 32 delinquencies. The previous month, our delinquencies were $98,528. So that was really good. We went down a lot on those. So kudos for the people working on that. Now, our resale report. This is the one I love to give everybody. I think it's still the most important report in the financials. And that is, how much are our properties worth? How much are they worth? Anyway, our monthly average in 2016 through June was $216,517. Through June of 2017, the average was $250,003. This represents a 15.5% increase in the value, and we should be very pleased with those stats. And we had 42 sales as a monthly average, as opposed to 44 sales the previous year. And our total sales volume this year, 2017, through to date, was $10,632,000, whereas last year it was $9,653,000. So that's our resales, and we're very happy. At least we should be very happy about those.
Do you want to give the leases?
And then on the leases, our leases have been staying absolutely stable at 8%, which again we should be very thrilled about, because this means that we're pretty stable in this respect. We had 492 leases out of 6,323, which equals 8%. And I thought I had one more report to give you, but I guess I don't. That's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Our next report will be from the Architectural Control and Standards Committee, and its chair is Janie Doral.
The Architecture and Controls Standard Committee, after some discussion, we are going to be changing our format of our meeting. We're going to have discussion with the members requesting approval for alterations at the beginning of our meeting. The committee members at that time will be able to ask the questions to the people that are requesting alterations, considerations. And after the members that are requesting these alteration, either to be approved, hopefully that's what they're looking for, denial, the committee will then decide if any of the requested alterations to the members' units need more information, and at that time, we will go ahead and tour the particular manors and or units. After that time, then the committee will go ahead and vote either for approval or denial of the request from the member. And after that process is completed, then we will go ahead and discuss all of our other business at that time that we will need to be discussing on anything on the agenda. And then our next meeting will be July the 25th.
Thank you, Janie. Our next report is from the Maintenance and Construction Committee, and its chair is Don Tibbetts.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. We have, as you know, about 15, 16 major projects that are in various phases of completion, and I'd like to bring you up to date on a couple of them. Our really major one right now is the what do you call the
Lining?
Waistline.
Huh?
The lining.
No, the epoxy, I'm sorry, the epoxy waistline remediation program. We hired New Flow Company last April, and as of last week, they have relined 9 waistlines in 9 buildings. And staff oversees the project. We always check them, but they are really doing a good job on that. It's expensive. Our budget for that program is about $1.5 million yearly, and it'll be going on for many years. One other item, we had a group of ladies asked to replace a step with a ramp, and they used the word, it was hazardous, and it should be replaced because of ADA requirements. And I would like to remind all of our residents that we are not an ADA community. And that was verified by our attorney a few months ago. However, if it is a hazard, we want to know about it. We will look at it. And staff now we've asked staff to come up with another drawing that won't be as so expensive, and maybe we can repair it ourselves at a fraction of the cost. That's all the MC, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have a report of the Landscape Committee. Maggie Blackwell is the chair of that committee.
Okay, we had an interesting question come up at the Landscape Committee this time. It was an owner of a unit wanted to mow the lawns, all of the lawns in his area, and tend to the plants himself. He said there were no rules or supporting or opposing residents from taking on maintenance responsibilities. And as an attorney, I said, no, it is United's responsibility by law to maintain the common grounds. And I'm sure for insurance purposes and other legal purposes, we would be most unwise to allow residents to take on the maintenance themselves of other parts of the common area. I instructed that, yes, if you get the yellow stakes from the office and you get the okay from our landscape manager, then you can plant and care for the little area in front of your place all you want. But as far as going out into the common area and cutting whatever or planting whatever you want, that is not allowed. And so we discourage residents from going out into the common area and putting their hands on the property in that way. So Kurt reminded the committee that the crews are behind schedule but working hard to catch up. But the good news from Brad is that we will restaff. We're low on staff right now. The landscaping is low, and also landscaping crews personnel have been pulled off to do other things, like clean out carports and things. So though they have this skill and know-how for cutting bushes and planting things and everything, they are sent out to do a blower out at carport. So that is not an efficient use of those personnel. So Brad says, no, we will not be doing that anymore. The landscaping staff will be beefed up to what it should be, and they will not be diverted onto other projects. So this is good. In the meantime, there will be a forerunner crew. It takes about 2 months now. It'll take less when we get the whole crew back, but it takes about 2 months now, and they're going to run a fast crew through about every month that will do lightweight things like pull the suckers off the edge of the bushes, so the pepper trees don't sprout everywhere. And we'll cut off the dead leaves and the dead heads of flowers and so on. Just quick dash through will be done every month. And then the crew will come through and do its normal stuff right a couple of weeks later. So that should be better. Thank you.
And your next meeting, August 9th?
Our next meeting is August 9th at 1:30 in the Sycamore Room.
Thank you. We have a report of the village traffic hearings. Don Tibbetts.
Yes, just briefly, the number one offense is still going through stop signs without stopping. And the second largest offense is speeding. And also, I would like to remind you that we have a lot of residents who have not put on the new stickers on their windshield, and they would like you to update them as soon as possible, please. That's all.
Thank you. Communications Committee, Maggie?
Okay, I put out some communications regarding the bylaws and also on Village Television, is that what we're calling it now? TV6. Anyway, they've put out some very good ads for our bylaws saying for people to vote. They've also put out some information about the elections coming up. And I have sent a letter to the Globe, and Joan Milliman has sent information out about elections. And so that will be very good. There are also email blasts being sent out by staff, and they're very good and very clear. They're full of information. But the ads on TV6 and by staff are very effective. I'm sure they will work. Thank you so much.
Okay, next is my turn. Yes, Andre? You have a question?
May I add something? The communication.
You have a question for me?
Yeah, no, I want to add something, okay? I've prepared a the bylaw change, the cover letter translated to Chinese and sent to Chinese
Oh, yes.
community and the Korean community, and I hope we can stir up and get people to get more involved, understanding why we are changing these things and getting them involved. We still need some effort in other ethnic groups, different languages, so we're looking for people that can help us out. This is a very diverse community, and we want everybody involved, all the people volunteered in doing these things. Thank you.
Yes, that was a fine idea. I saw it, and it'll be very effective. It was greatly appreciated. It's terrific.
Thank you, Andre. The Document Review Committee met on June 26th. Excuse me. And the main things that we are looking at right now are a comparison of assessments. With budget time coming up, we want to know where we stand in relationship to some of the other large communities, other leisure worlds, et cetera, in our assessments. And we also want to see how our assessments have changed in the last 10 years. We have a chart from 2002 that goes up. We reviewed and discussed investor contractors as purchasers for resale. We have people who are contractors or rehab people who want to buy a unit, rehab it, and sell it as a profit, sometimes called flippers. Right now, they are having to be less than truthful when they sign a membership agreement and a certificate of occupancy. And so we've been working with our attorney. Mr. Beaumont is preparing some forms that we can use. And we are developing a list of concerns and things that we would, controls that we would need if we decide to go forward with this. We're still looking at this. This will be coming up at our next meeting as well to review those forms. And of course, before anything is done, it will be brought back to the board. We also reviewed and discussed guarantors and shareholder financial responsibilities. And we looked at the difference between United's financial responsibilities and thirds. We looked as to whether or not guarantors could be eliminated. We do have problems with those sometimes, and Mr. Beaumont said that legally guarantors can be eliminated, but it's up to the board. And we had a number of different requirements that we discussed, but nothing, again, finalized to bring forward to the board at this time. The requirements for subleases was another issue that we looked at. One of the things that we were going to ask our members to do when they are subleasing their unit is to consider getting information on credit scores, past addresses, criminal background, foreclosures, prior evictions, et cetera, which will help us to control the people who are subleasing in our community. And Property Services told us that there's a $29.95 fee, which is very, very reasonable for any landlord, any member to get for anybody they are considering subleasing to. And the last item that we looked at was the minimal age for membership. And basically, as I think Mr. Beaumont mentioned in his remarks, a stock cooperative limits buyers to 55 plus. And to be a member of the stock cooperative, you have to be on the share and have occupancy. So that was discussed as well. And our next meeting will be July 24th. Okay. Excuse me. Our next report comes from Andre, who is the chair of the Preparedness for Disaster Task Force.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And during the past months, we've had a lot of activities. We received a list of current Good Neighbor Captain list, and their coverage, it's not quite complete, and seems like we need more people north of El Toro. Currently, we have close to 100 good neighbor captains, but if you look at, we have 6,323 manors, and if each good neighbor captain can cover 16 manors, we need probably 400 good neighbor captains, which is a lot, okay? So we're still looking for maybe 300 more good neighbor captains. A lot of you have seen me walking around in Clubhouse 1, Clubhouse 3, attending some dinner. People are waiting in line for entering the dinners and the theaters. Hopefully, we will talk people into attending, joining this volunteer force. Let me give you my 30-second speech, elevator speech on this one. Basically, we need people to knock on the door when there's a big disaster. People knock on the door of your neighbors and ask them if everybody's okay, if anybody got hit by the falling bookshelf or had a heart attack, or because losing electricity, they don't have oxygen supply anymore. So that's the information we need, and those volunteers will quickly get help. We understand the first 2 or 3 hours during disaster is a critical moment for any kind of disaster, any kind of event that might happen, and these people will try to get help as fast as they can. We understand that outside support during that kind of disaster may not arrive after 2 or 3 hours. So it is critical that everybody can help our neighbors. Your next door neighbors need your help, and you probably need your next neighbor's help. So that's what we're trying to do at this point. And also, we have started recruiting. Like I said, I've been lining up with different peoples and flyer distributions. We send flyers to current good neighbor captains. I've received a lot of response. This is a joint effort between United and the Third, and we have a training session tomorrow, July 12th, 1 p.m. in Clubhouse 7. Anybody interested in helping your neighbor, interested in being helped by your neighbor, please join us, and let's see what we can do to organize it during a disaster, reduce the casualty to minimum. The biggest concern we have will be the retention, because if we, of the 300-400 people, volunteers that we recruit, if there's a 50 or 100 people turnover every year, this program won't be able to sustain itself. So we will have a very strong retention process, get everybody involved, get everybody motivated, excited about this, and we will have a good program under that kind of retention program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andre. Andre and his committee have been very diligent about trying to recruit these building captains. So any of you out there in the audience, if you are interested, please come to the training tomorrow or contact Andre so that we can get your name. It's not onerous, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it is definitely helping neighbor. Our next report is the Membership Disciplinary Report. I'm pleased to say that disciplinary cases went down by 25 from our May month, from 385 to 360. And the number of cases resolved went up by over 100. And so their compliance is really working and helping us to do this. Some of the things that we really still need to work on that are increased are things like abandoned vehicles. That went up over 10. Common area clutter or carport clutter, and unauthorized alterations, which is always a problem. Unauthorized alterations, you can be made to take that alteration out if you do not get permission in advance to put it in. We've had a couple that go down. Animal nuisance is down by about half. So short-term rentals and traffic violations have also decreased, which is a good thing. Now, besides the committees that United has, that you've heard the reports on today, 2 members of United serve on every GRF committee so that our voice and the voice of our residents can be heard. So just a quick highlight from some of the GRF committees, the Community Activities Committee.
Yes.
Maxine?
Yes. It was really exciting at this last meeting because our creative staff has planned so many wonderful events for the summer. And as I'm speaking right now, the Water Safety Day event is going on at Clubhouse 2, right across, around and across the street in Gate 12. And it's free, and even though it focuses on water safety, you know the staff makes it fun. And so anybody could be there till 1 o'clock today with their guests. And then just an idea of the Performing Arts Center, the Everly. Do you remember the Everly Brothers? Well, the Everly Brothers are coming and will be performing. You can get your tickets at the Performing Arts Center, also used to be known as Clubhouse 3. And then there's the bus trips again, picking out different destinations. I'm sorry, I started to say vocation. Different destinations for us, including an Angels game on August 9th, dance performance, jazz dance at Soka University and other exciting places. And then a lot of you went to the 4th of July party over at Clubhouse 2. There were 1,500 members of our community at that lovely evening on the 4th. And ones who didn't go, who lived rather close without a big tree in their front yard, got to watch the fireworks from their front yard. And they were really spectacular. Clubhouse 1, this committee has really supported extensive remodeling for Clubhouse 1 on the budget, on the new budget that's being brought up. So, hope to see a lot of you here. Oh, they did want me to mention there's a new Israeli dance class. How about that? A new Israeli dance class that was attended by over 50 residents as it started up. This is now one of the most popular dance classes hosted by Recreation. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Next, we have a report from the Landscape Committee. Maggie?
Okay, the GRF Landscape Committee has not met, and they will meet next week. But we have good news about the bridge and creek maintenance, like Brad told us this morning, which is very good because now we get to do the bridge and creek maintenance for this special instance the way we proposed, which is good. But the rest of the creek will be under the standard supervision. We have, the garden center has a new manager, and that is going well this time. And Brad's news about the full crews for landscaping made everyone in landscaping happy, including James Tung of Third and myself. So things are looking up for landscape. Things are moving in a positive direction. Thank you.
Okay, now we have a report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee. John?
Yes, we have over 50 projects in GRF, M&C. Last month, I mentioned the refurbishment of Clubhouse 3 or the Performing Arts Center, and we are still gathering input from residents. Let us know what you want. This month, I'd like to mention the Pickleball Courts. After 15 years I've been here, we're finally coming to a conclusion what we want to do. We want to move them across the street of Moulton, where they are now. It's the old restaurant pad, I think it was called. And if you're really interested in that, GRF is going to vote on it this Thursday. And along with the restaurant pad area, they're thinking about moving a pickleball court on the tennis court area. That's come up before, but the final vote, hopefully the final vote, will be this Thursday if you'd like to attend. That's all.
Thank you, John. A report from the Media and Communications Committee. Jamie, Steve, anybody?
There was no meeting.
Well, that's all you need to say. When's the next?
The meeting is I'll carry over the box to the next meeting.
Right.
Excuse me.
Right.
Hello? I'd like to say we haven't had finance yet.
Well, I'm coming to that.
Thank
Let me get a couple more.
All right.
All right, report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee.
Thanks to the, recently assigned to this committee, and it was a very interesting committee. I really enjoy working with bus riders and see they get help using this great transportation facility in our community. And that's one of the signature item that we attract all the potential buyers. And we have, as far as the complaint about the bus route, my experience and from general consensus, seems like we have less complaints and everybody's getting comfortable with the schedule, and the route has changed, so everybody's happy with that. And also, for bus excursions, it's very welcomed by the residents. I'm surprised to find out that a lot of people don't have their own transportation vehicles, and they need this kind of excursion to help them go into places. And but we do need a lot of Chinese, Korean, Farsi translators and the drivers. So still the same thing. That's those ethnic groups need to rise up and help out themselves. We can help to a certain degree, but we cannot. We are not totally adequate in translating to their own languages. So hopefully we'll get more people involved. That's all my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Report from Security Community Access Committee. That's you.
I don't think I have anything to report. We basically are trying to get our captains together and put together questionnaires to ask people to fill out for their pharmaceuticals and that type of thing in case we have a large emergency. And we're walking that around, and that's going to take a long time, and that may be something we need to think about, how to quicken this, because we're never going to get around.
Thank you. And now, report of Finance Committee, Pat.
I don't know what happened, but we got left out there, the Finance Committee. Anyway, right now, it's very important because we are working with GRF to get a new budget for 2018. And we do have a preliminary one, and I believe that the majority of these things will work out. In any case, the plan right now is to hire 16 more people. And out of those 16 people, 13 of them will go to maintenance. And this is where we really need the people, is in maintenance. So as a result of that, there will be an additional $2 million for salaries, and there will be an additional $1 million, approximately $1 million for the benefits that go on the salaries. Then there are another $2 million for outside services, which would include a lot of things like any work that might be done on Clubhouse 1 or whatever it's going to be. So that's just a basic overview, and I would encourage everybody to come to the budget meetings because they're very interesting. They will show you why we may have to have a small increase, like about $10 maybe. But I'm very supportive of what GRF and Brad are doing on this. I think they're doing a very good job. And I think Juanita will agree with me that they're doing a good job because we are both working together on the GRF budget. Thank you.
And just to remind you that the United's budget meeting is this Friday, 9:30 in this room, and it is an open meeting. Going on to number 16, our future agenda items, I would remind people that in August, we're going to have the result of the vote on the bylaws. We're going to have final approval of the drone policy. We're going to have final resolution, shouldn't say approval, you never know until people vote. Final resolution of the revisions to the qualifiers for subleasing manners on short-term rentals, and the amendments to the shareholder financial requirements, all of which were postponed to August. And then we have 3 coming up in September that we talked about today. The hot tub standard policy, which was going back to committee, but maybe come back to us in August. And then the use of common area for your utilities or certain improvements, and the resolution to remove standard specifications for atriums with common walls. Those will all be brought back at the September meeting. I'd like to do director comments now, and I'll start over here with Gary.
I want to thank the staff for all the work they did putting together the 4th of July fireworks and all the activities that went on across the street. And I think they did a wonderful job and couldn't ask for more. Thank you.
Maxine?
Yes. I just want to remind all our members who might still be listening that Martin and Chapman telephone number, that number is just for all of us in United. And if you live between gates 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're probably in United. And we have another happy bunch of people just inside gate 5, in case some of the new people aren't sure. So you call that number. Please remember, 714-516-8121. Don't be embarrassed. People lose, misplace, throw out ballots. And you have still over 2 weeks before they have to be returned. Plenty of time to request a duplicate ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Maggie?
Yes, I'd urge everyone to open the ballot package, read the information, and vote. I suggest you vote yes. I also want to tell you that there is a meeting at 1:30 on GRF on Thursday. It's a meeting about fees for sports and other things, and it has to do with our budgeting plans and so on. So if you have comments regarding fees for golf, fees for tennis, fees for RV park, and so on, then 1:30 in this room will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Jeannie? Jamie?
I just wanted to say thank you, Jeff, for being here. We really appreciated your input. And I thought this was a great meeting today, and we accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys all stay cool out there.
Don?
Yeah, there are 2 items. I should have commented on them at the beginning, I guess, but I didn't. The one was the lady, I think her name was Valerie. She said that we have a cockroach infestation.
Yeah.
We do not have a cockroach infestation. She was talking about an area where there's a cover that goes into a sewer line that's used regularly for inspection, and they gather cockroaches. They are inspected by our staff on a regular basis, and the cockroaches are exterminated. She probably saw it when it's going to get ready to be sprayed, and cockroaches will be taken care of. But we do not have a cockroach infestation. In fact, I've been here 15 years and I have never seen one cockroach, not one. Yeah. And the other thing I'd like to mention, Brad in his report this morning talked about that adult child of a resident who lives here who was arrested for theft. The follow-up on that, I can share what happened in other cases similar to that. The resident is responsible for all guests, including adult children. This person who was arrested will obviously not be allowed back into the community. And if he does come back in, the adult child, and the parents cannot keep him out, then the parent will be asked to move. It's that serious. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat?
I'd just like to comment on something Maggie said regarding the golf fees. I think that's very crucial that we can, I hate to say this because I have two friends right next to me, and both of them are golfers,
Yeah.
and they're both good guys. But $11 is a joke, and we need to increase it to 16 or 20. And I think Brad, you'd have most people supporting you in spite of the golfers. Thank you.
Jack?
I don't have anything other than to agree strongly that people vote for the changes in our in our bylaws that have come to your house, and that they're very important that we go ahead and get that straightened out, because that's very important. Shit.
Steve?
Let's see. Kudos to staff. Our solar PV system is back up to 100% operational. It has been for the last few weeks. Staff has worked very closely with us in convincing Southern California Edison to get on the ball, so to speak. For those who are interested, we generated over 100,000 kilowatts worth of power in the month of June. And so far this month, we are generating about 40,000, so I'm hoping we hit 120,000 kilowatts in the month of July, so I'm very pleased with that. And in closing, I'd like to say Happy National Blueberry Muffin Day.
Goes well with your Frosty. Thank you. Andre?
I can't stress enough, we want volunteers as good neighbor captains. And here's my forefather, dressing just like my forefathers. And we need volunteers to help our neighbors. So if you can, join us. Even if you cannot, please come to the training, and let's see what we can do to help each other out. I also want to thank my colleagues, Gary Morrison and Cash, and also Juanita contribute a lot, join our meeting, made quite a few recommendations, and staff, security supervisor Roger Caudry, and advisors Brenda Rader, and Kathleen Matthews. Thank you very much. This is a team effort, and I hope it's become a village effort, a community effort. We all help each other out. Thank you very much.
Juanita, may I make one
Yes.
that I forgot? I had a recent leak in a shower, and maintenance came over, repaired. They redid the whole shower floor bottom, cleaned up, and I'm a clean freak. I couldn't even find a speck of dust after they left, and I just want to give kudos to that group.
Maggie?
I had my building epoxy lined. They did a fantastic job. They were very good, all of them. It was a huge crew, and they come many, many times to each unit and dig holes in the yard and all kinds of things. And they were very conscientious, very polite, very considerate of all the residents, and it was a great job done.
Glad to hear that.
All right, I'd like to end by, first of all, thanking my board. I think we did great today. It's only 12:12.
Yay!
Moving right along. I thought we did well. And one last comment for our residents. We are looking for new directors. There will be 4 seats available this fall on this board of directors. Anybody who is interested in the board of directors can pick up a package from Catherine Lassiter up in the general manager's office. It has to be in by the middle of August. And we are setting up our meet the candidates and those kinds of things at this time. So really, the sooner you get it in, the better. But all of us, while we may be retired, have expertise and experience from our former careers. And you do have something to contribute to this board. So please think about nominating yourself, applying to be a board member. And I'd like to see a nice, long list this time instead of just 4 or 5 people. And with that,
The packets are also available online, so they can download them, fill them out.
absolutely, online if you want to do it that way. All right, this meeting is in recess. Hey.
As you may know, United's existing bylaws were adopted in 1994. The California laws governing our community have experienced so much change within the past few years alone, it makes our current bylaws unreliable. As our community has continued to develop, our needs have changed. The updated bylaws will help us address our changing needs. Moreover, it only makes sense to have governing documents that are updated and reflect modern law. The board has worked closely with United's attorneys in drafting the proposed amendment and restated bylaws to ensure that your interests are protected and the community is properly managed. The proposed bylaws clearly and effectively set forth policies and procedures for the governing of the community. Most importantly, the proposed bylaws have been updated to reflect current law and important provisions have been clarified. The board's goal through this important process has been to assure that United's and, significantly, your interests are represented and adequately addressed. We encourage you to vote in favor of the proposed amendment and restated bylaws.